yesterday I was kind of down on my body, which I don't like. I was like, you know what? We're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We're going to be down on our body. That means that we got to work out. Like, that's the
Mm,
new rule.
yeah. Ooh, I love that.
And like, it helped though. Like, I felt more grounded, like in my own space and not feeling like my body was like this alien creature. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was really good for me. It helped out so much. Look, closing some tabs here. But yeah, I love just getting to work out and kind of get in tune with my body. I think a lot of people don't realize that like outside of its like benefits to like your body or whatever, it also is beneficial to like your mind, body, and soul.
For sure. It like is a holistic like self-care practice for sure of when you can take care of the physical, it literally helps everything else. And it's like there was something where those funny memes or something where it's like, damn, they were right. Waking up early and working out regularly really does work, really does feel good.
Yeah, I already got my routine down. Wow.
Yeah.
Mine actually came from Think Like a Monk.
Mm,
I read that book and apparently, people have speculations about Jay Shetty, how long he was a monk for, all these things. All I know is that book changed my life, like legitimately.
hmm
And there's things that I've like changed. And things I don't do anymore. Like I used to wake up early and I just realized that I could do it. It just wasn't like conducive to my life.
mm,
But having a morning routine is like an actual hack to your brain.
yeah, I agree. It's so helpful for me.
And then makeup. It sounds so weird,
No,
but
I get
like
it.
to get
hmm
me ready, like I was so, it's so hot in Michigan right now. And I
Mm,
was like, oh, I don't want to do it. It's so hot. And then I'm like, but you can put on makeup.
yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I feel better now. And it really like gets me like in the set to start the day. I do not start like when I go to work, it's like my work that pays me. I don't do it, but like when I go into the office to do all of my like business things, I always have to have on makeup because it like puts me in that mindset to get ready to work.
Yeah, no, I feel that. It's like either it's funny, I was trying to be more intentional with my days a couple years ago. I'm like, you know what? Let me dress up or adorn myself or fun makeup. And sometimes my mom would be like, what? That's such a waste of an outfit. And I'm like, I thought of that. I used to think that way too, but I have so many other clothes and I can just wash them at the end of the week. Is it really a waste? Like it's a waste that I'm dressed grungy and it doesn't make me feel good, Like why can't I feel good every day, not just on special days?
Yeah.
And it changes the way that I move in the world or show up on a call or show up to my creativity because it really alters the way that you're showing up. So yeah, I totally get it.
To be on showing up for like my creativity, it's hard after I had like a big event. I did like the Pages Against the Patriarchy, which is like a live virtual author event.
hmm
And I was exhausted after, so now I'm kind of like getting back into my routine. But I'm
hmm
also getting into cycling.
Oh, okay.
I'm so excited for that. I literally just put one of the reasons why I wasn't paying attention to time and ended up being here instead of in the office is I was putting together a bike rack
Wow.
so that I could
Okay.
go watch trails and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I'm like, I keep telling myself, I need to get a bike because I went to a university where there were bikes everywhere and that's how you got around. And ever since graduating, I never got a new bike. And it's been several years and I keep telling myself. So I'm like, it might be time.
All right, let's get into our little fun. I have to scroll all the way down. Our little fun intro, and then we'll get started. Which one is it going to be today? I don't know because I just added more. Let's pick one and see. That sounds like a bad idea.
I'm dead.
This episode of Basically Unbothered is brought to you by Sister Sense Candle Co. If you're the kind of person who wants your home to smell like a haunted library, an enchanted forest, an ancient cathedral, or the coziest autumn evening imaginable, you're going to love this. Sister Sense Candle is a woman-owned Michigan fragrance studio handcrafting soy candles, perfume oils, incense, and home fragrances inspired by folklore, gothic romance, and the beauty of the natural world. Every product is made with small batches with clean burning soy wax, phthalate free fragrance oils, and thoughtfully chosen ingredients to make scents that make everyday life feel just a little more magical. Whether you're setting the mood for your next reading session, writing your novel, or simply winding down after a long day, there's a scent waiting for you. You can shop online or find Sister Scents Candle Co. at markets, festivals, and workshops across Michigan. Be sure to check them out and tell them Basically Unbothered sent you. Actually, that worked. Actually, that was perfect. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Basically Unbothered, where I still don't have my voice, going on for 3 months. But today we are joined by Isabel. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay. Isabel, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about you, who you are, what you do?
Yes. Hello. I'm so excited for this chat. Hello, everyone. I'm Isabel Bagsik. I am a brand oracle and visibility guide that helps intuitive entrepreneurs and healers and creatives with really connecting with their most expressed self and bringing that into their visual brand world so that it really bridges their medicine with their expertise and translating that in an aligned, exciting way to their dream people. So I'm just excited to be talking about different parts around the intersections of creativity, wellness, culture, art, community, and all the things in between. And I'm a Gemini sun, so I could talk. So I'm very excited for this opportunity.
I'm a Sagittarius sun.
Wait, those are sister signs. My sister's a Sag sun, so there's that.
Is she really?
My literal
I'm so,
sister.
that's like so cool though. Although I imagine that the household gets a little interesting.
I mean, it's interesting because when I looked into my parents' charts, I'm like, wait, this is kind of divine because my dad's moon sign is a Sag moon and my mom is a Gemini moon. And then they got married and then they had us. And I'm like,
That's
there's
so
something here.
cool.
Yeah. I'm like, I need to talk to a professional to see what this means. But yeah.
I've always wanted to go get like a full professional astrological reading. It's like
Mm.
on my bucket list.
Oh, I got recommendations for you if you're interested. I've got
I'm
people.
so
Yeah.
interested. I also really want, I don't know why, just because it's like the lore of it. I want like the Akashic reading once.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've had one properly done for me, but I've been around people or like know people who are in that world and really do it. So, yeah, if you need recommendations, I can also share that with
Okay, I'm so excited. I love recommendations. I love that, you were talking about like brand identity, but you're like very specific on like intuitives and wellness and stuff like that. And that's something that's near and dear to my heart. My first
you.
business that I ever started was actually like an intuitive tea candle, wellness business.
Mm.
And I did tarot readings and I did Reiki healings.
Ooh.
And I used all that energy into creating candles that could like not just smell good, but heal. And I loved it for so long. And then it just kind of fizzled a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that I realized, first of all, I wish I would have had you because it probably would have been, I was like reaching out, not understanding like where I fit in the whole wellness, intuitive magic sphere, like the whole thing that kind of blends. And, but I also realized that I love my gifts being my gifts,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but I love that space and I want to go back to it one day, just not me making them.
Ooh, I'm curious about this journey for you. But yeah, I totally hear you. Sometimes, some things were there to explore and experiment, and that was its time frame. And
Mhm.
learn from it, like, reflect from it onto the next, see where it leads you. So yeah, here for
Yeah.
where you go next.
But I'm gonna keep you in mind for when it comes because I have a
Cool.
name for it. It's gonna be Gabi.
Okay.
Um, and I have like an idea. I want it to be candles and teas again. Like I said, I
Mhm.
just don't want to be the one making them. So I want to like outsource
Mhm.
them, but I
Mhm.
still want the like intentional thing behind it. I also want to I would love to launch it one day with a platform that has like yoga people, wellness people that you can like schedule chats with or report. Like I've always wanted to have like a kind of wellness fitness merge. I've always believed in that merge a lot. And so now I'm like, maybe I'm meant to put a pause on me doing it because it's meant to be bigger than just me doing it.
Okay, can I say what's coming to me of a
Mhm,
vision for you?
mhm. Love it.
I'm like, what if you're curating in-person experiences? Because it sounded like you were moderating another event recently. Is that correct?
Mhm, mhm.
And I'm like, I just saw you pour yourself tea too. Like you were
Oh yeah.
physically. And it just sounds like you have a vision for this kind of experience for people and, outsourcing different teas or different practitioners to come together. Yeah, I'm wondering what, that's coming to mind. What if you are the curator of the
See,
space?
that will be so much fun because I do like because on the other side, I'm in the outfield, I have an indie outfield bookstore. I do a lot.
Mm. So you have a
And
brick and mortar? You have a physical
not
storefront?
yet. It's
Okay.
online.
Okay.
But I do pop-up events like at
Mm.
different places, but I also do a beer with an indie author thing that I host. And
Mhm.
I realize I actually kind of love hosting those things. I want to be able to do more
Ooh.
things like that. So I can see
Uh-huh.
more things in the future. That's fun. My mom's been asking me to do an event at her like lady lounge. So actually that
Mm.
would be kind of fun if I could.
Wait, these are telling you exactly where to
Yeah.
go next. Come
This is
on.
this is, oh my gosh, this is great. Guys, my life is set now. 15 minutes in.
You're welcome. That's what I do.
I mean, well, thank you for the free advice because I appreciate it. How does it, before we get into all of it, how does that usually like work for you with your clients and everything like that? What does it usually look like?
Yeah. So, oftentimes I'll start off with a ritual of some sort, whether we get into meditation or oracle card reading, just, maybe journal prompts or connecting with your inner child. Really, how do we pause the overthinking, rational, linear mind and really get to connect with your intuition or their ancestors or their guides, whatever that means for you, or their inner wisdom, and really connect with that part because that often has the answer really clearly, really specific to what you're seeking instead of getting overwhelmed with all the research or all the shoulds that you might be collecting from the collective or from social media. And it really connects with, okay, what is true to you? And then I just reflect back, or maybe I'll get intuitive hits like as you were speaking, I'm like, wait, I see this vision for you. Or kind of like explore that after we set the foundation of what comes up for them in that ritual. And
Mhm.
then we get into it, into crafting what that world is for them or what their goals are. And then we go from there.
I love that. I think it's so cool. It's so needed.
Mm. Hmm.
Especially because I feel blessed as like an intuitive and creative. My mom's a Virgo
Hmm.
and my brother's a Capricorn, and those are like my parents were divorced, so I was raised mainly in the household with my mom and brother. So I'm like free spirited fire sign, like let's flow and do whatever our passions. And they're like, no, what is your actual plan? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean a plan? They're like, no, no. But it helps because they taught me how as a creative to be more organized because I
Mhm.
grew up in organization setting. And so, and I also realized through like with Think Like a Monk, and I love organization and I love a routine. I can't always keep to a routine, but I love having it like as the structure in the background so that I
Yeah.
can always fall back onto it. But I've been lucky because I've been able to have those things, and a lot of intuitives, a lot of creatives, a lot of artsy people, a lot of people who are out there and spiritual, they have a hard time sometimes coming down and honing in on the like, what do I need? Where do I need to focus on? That's so hard. Like, I can do it for other people. I cannot do it for myself at all.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I hear you. I mean, I have Capricorn placement, so I think that helps the flowy Gemini parts of me, balance out, and I totally hear you. A lot of creatives and intuitives that come to me, they are very much in the ethers, and I'm like, "Okay, containers, structures, brand identities is not restrictive. It can actually be the container to bring you home so that you
Hmm.
aren't just floating in space and have no direction. How can we have a supportive container that holds you in the way that you really feel good in being held, so that you can actually channel the ideas or your gifts into a direction that feels good instead of kind of being all over the place. So yeah, it totally makes sense.
I love that. I agree. I've been using Rella right now,
Mm,
which is like a social media management tool.
okay.
I was using Later and other things before to like schedule, but this one has like, it like, there's, you ever, you know how like sometimes you have that itch in your inside of your ear that you like have to like to get to the back of it? It like scratches the itch on the inside of your ear because it's like a project management tool and a social media thing. And like,
Mm,
it's so fast. I will send you, I freaking love it.
okay.
Love it. And it, you know how a lot of those social media schedulers, you have to pay for every new like social space that you have?
Hmm.
Nope. I love it. And it's made me feel like I have my next all the way up until the end of the next week for the podcast, the
Wow.
indie author bookstore and my Blake Gabrielle brand, um, completely planned. And I thought that that would make me feel so rigid. But then I'm like, oh, let me take a video of like my cute setup getting ready. Like I feel more creative now because I
Hmm.
already know that that's all there and that's all planned. And now if it's something like strikes me, I don't have to be like, oh, but I was supposed to do this. They're all there.
Right.
Anything else is just free flowing and extra. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I love that you found this process for yourself. And I found that too of, okay, let me do the Capricorn organization, structure things, check the
Hmm.
list and everything, schedule or whatnot, like get those things done that I actually need to get done. And
Hmm.
it does, in a way, free the mind, to be like, "Okay, where can I daydream or where can I play?" And it doesn't have to have this all or nothing pressure to how it works or performs or whatnot.
All right. Now that we've got our share of astrology, let's get into our pop culture roundup.
So, quick question. Have you ever opened your to do list, looked it dead in the face, and then immediately decided that reorganizing your desktop, deep diving on YouTube, or starting a completely unrelated side quest was actually the better life choice? Yeah, same. And that's exactly why this week on Basically Unbothered, we're talking about something that doesn't yell at you to wake up at 5 a.m. or just be more disciplined like some productivity drill sergeant. We're talking about A Pinch of Productivity, the secret sauce for motivation by Don Turner. Because instead of shaming you into being productive, it gives you the pinch framework: pressure, interest, novelty, challenge, and humor. Translation: you're not lazy, your brain is just bored. This is about learning how to work with your brain instead of fighting it so you can actually finish the things you keep putting off without turning your life into a boot camp montage. So if your motivation bar has been sitting at low HP for a little too long, go check out A Pinch of Productivity wherever books are sold. And maybe, just maybe, we'll finally finish one task before starting 5 new ones.
Our first topic today is I love Zara Larsson.
Yeah.
I love Zara Larsson. I've loved her for a long time. I didn't, when people started seeing her like the Jingle Ball thing and they were like, oh, Zara Larson's so cool. No, I've been listening to her for like a hot minute, right? I haven't been following her career that much. When one of her songs pops up on usually her song with someone else, but when it pops up, I'm just like here for it. But she recently had this big, like, influx of followers and people. And they're like, it's kind of like Sabrina Carpenter. I just saw something recently. They were talking about like 3 artists and are they going to have a 3rd album Curse? And someone was like, well, actually, this will be Sabrina Carpenter's 8th album. So, but like, so many of them don't realize that these artists have been here for so long doing the work. And just now they're getting the visibility, right?
Yeah.
Which is motivation. It's like when you're in the background and you're like, no one's ever gonna like read my book or follow my stuff or it's never gonna get there. I always just remind myself, Sabrina Carpenter. And then I'm like, okay, we're locked back in. Cause it's that reminder that like for people, some things do take a long time to manifest themselves. And usually that's a good thing because usually when it takes longer, it lasts longer. But because of Zara Larsson's success, she has announced that, she's dropping her label and she's becoming an independent artist, which is amazing. 10 years ago, this would have never happened. And I think it's like, cause Drake is actually on the precipice of doing the same thing. And it's the kind of wonder, like, with social media and everything being at the way that it is right now, do these artists really need the backing of a big major record company?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know if you were in this space, but back in high school, there was like this rise of YouTube singers. And especially where I was growing up in a predominantly Filipino community, there were a lot of Filipino YouTube singers that became kind of like micro famous in the YouTube sphere. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I a little bit, but I've actually just recently found a Filipino singer, Janine Burden.
Ooh, okay. I don't know that artist.
And she's like, I guess she was doing like YouTube videos around. I mean, she's a little bit younger, but yes, I know exactly about what you're talking about. Sorry.
This is like early 2000, like mid, like 2010s kind of period, where YouTube was still new. The creator sphere was kind of like developing, and YouTube musicians or singers were getting famous from having this free platform to get an audience and be able to not just create covers, but now share their own original songs, to create their own music videos. Even some film people who created their own studios, created shorts. So yeah, it's interesting to see this rise of artists wanting to become more independent. I don't know anything about the music industry, so I don't know what that support
I don't know much
difference
either.
is. But to have a growing community, like fan base around you who will support you and follow you, I think that's such a great foundation no matter what platform or where you move to. Because once you have that level of visibility and support, I think you can leverage that in a really great way.
Yeah. And it's, I love that, like, YouTube still is that space for people, like, people are still posting. YouTube is now a space for a lot of podcasters
Yeah.
to get on and to get seen and to make money, right? And they
Yeah.
don't have to be a part of a big podcast company or whatever. Um, it's still a way for I was a film student originally. I jump around a lot, which is very true to my sign. But I was a film student originally, and like there's a lot of short films, and I used to put my films or my like short things that I did on YouTube, and it's just a way to like get things out there without having to like appease to like just this mass audience. And obviously we talk about like the tendencies to like listen to short form versus long form video, but I still think like the whole social media has created a way for us to break away from like some of those beliefs that kind of keep creatives down and want to like control them.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely can resonate where, the frustrations around navigating those spaces can feel overwhelming, or when you have a certain goal, can be grasping at like the algorithm's out to get me, or
Mhm.
you're leaning on the metrics too much. And it can really take a toll on your creativity and your mindset around that journey. Um, so it really takes a lot of inner work and a lot of support and celebration to keep you going and sustain your persistence and resilience through that journey, whatever your goal is with showing up in the online sphere or sharing your talents.
Mhm.
I think about, as you were speaking, TikTok is another way people have become this next level famous, like TikTok famous, where some creators on there have gone on to the red carpet to be moderators and whatnot. It's kind of wild, or get cameos in actual Hollywood movies or back in the YouTube space. I don't know if you know the movies Backrooms, but the director was creating, I think, first on YouTube, like that the origin of that content was like shorts or short film. I forget the details, but a lot of that content came to certain people's attention for it to then become a feature film. And now it's one of the most talked about movies this summer. Um,
I
so
have
yeah,
heard
it's really
about.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
I have because I was talking to another guest on the podcast, and we were talking about like all these books being published in the being made into movies, and how although
Mhm.
I love them, like I love them, I also wish that we had more individual original movies getting pushed out. And she had mentioned this movie about how it was like a YouTuber, and now it's
Mhm.
one of the most talked about movies versus all these other movies that people are talking about. Like this movie is making it just from someone being on YouTube. And
Mhm.
I think that's what I love the most. Like for yourself, you obviously, I'm guessing like have your own agency where you do this. Did you ever work with a bigger agency like marketing or anything like that before this?
Yeah. I don't have like a traditional agency myself, but yes, I was part of different marketing agencies, digital content studios, working with YouTube creators and companies to get YouTube content as marketing campaigns. And yeah, so I've definitely seen the behind the scenes around this kind of work. So it's really interesting to see what the creative side, the processes, the development of these ideas would be like on bridging those worlds together with corporate, with creators, with influencers and celebrities in that online space for sure.
Yeah. I, I'm like, so do you feel like a difference between there and kind of working for yourself? Do you feel like a freedom?
Yeah, I think because you're on a team in an agency setting, there's a lot more different perspectives to take into consideration, of course.
Hmm.
A larger budget that you have to manage of not just your team, but then the client. And depending on who the client is, oftentimes, and one of my jobs, we were working with these multi-million, billion corporations or these celebrities that you'd have middle people in between to be the liaisons and middle people to communicate the everything in between to get it to the final production. So it is very different because of so many hands that the project passes through versus me. I'm a solo entrepreneur. And I kind of there's that freedom because there's not as many um I guess, layers of approval that I'd have to go to because it's if I decide to do something, I just do it, and if I decide to cancel something, I could just not do it, and obviously just notify clients, but it really is just me doing the decision making, the execution or delegation, and, I don't have to wait for approval except for myself. So that's the main difference, I would say.
Well, I love that. And I think that maybe that's what, like you said, I'm not very well versed in the like music sphere, but I think that maybe that's what a lot of artists are, looking for now. I know that we still have some big names in indie singers. I mean, um, Ariana Grande, hers is still under her, under a big one, but she started her own label. So now all of her mix and masters and everything like that is hers now. Um, you have like Macklemore, who's indie,
Mhm.
Russ, who's indie, and I mean, these are only like the small, there's a gazillion, but
Mhm.
I am seeing a surplus in that happening. And, I'm in the indie author sphere, and even as in authors, what used to be like before when you got that trad publishing deal, they would give you the advance, they would do all the marketing for you. Now, one, they want you to already have a built-in audience. And
Mhm.
two, they want you to do your own marketing.
Wow. Okay.
And like the rules are changing. And so most people feel like if I'm doing my own marketing at this point, I'm
My
doing my own, I could hire a team to do some of this stuff, but it's still, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting to hear. And I've heard that too in the actors world where I think I was listening to an interview or something, or saw this clip about, uh, I think it was Maya Hawke who was mentioning for either auditioning or being considered for a movie, they were actually looking at like I think she was not really wanting to be on Instagram or something around social media specifically, but for that particular movie, and I think it's a growing trend, like you're saying, they're now checking your Instagram following instead of just relying on who is this hidden new incredible talent. And we're kind of missing that more. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these TikTok creators getting into movies. And no shade, like cool, you're getting this amazing opportunity where it was um what was that? Gated kind of like gate kept kind
Mhm.
of world. But now where does that leave traditional actors with who don't show up on social media and don't
Yeah.
want to be part of that world? So it's this interesting like
Double-edged
complexity.
sword.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
It's giving people who are willing to, and it's a lot of like, I want everybody to be clear as a person who considers themselves as like a content creator, because I do all of this, but then I create content for all of my brands and things. It's a lot of work.
Yep.
Like
Oh, yeah.
it's, it's not easy. It's not just pointing your camera at something and being like, okay, like it's a lot of work. Um, and you do sacrifice a bit of your privacy for it. Now you
Mhm.
get to choose, and maybe that's why a lot of people gear toward is you get to choose how much of your privacy, usually, unless you get like sucked in and then you get caught up in that. But you get to choose how much of your privacy you give out, but you still have to sacrifice a part of like your privacy. Whereas a lot of these older actresses and, they had like some of their life in the public sphere when the paparazzi, but they didn't have like, they weren't doing welcome to the day in my lives and like showing their everyday
Ye
beings.
yeah.
So I do find that interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Our next topic is, while we're talking about actors and actresses and their privacy of their lives, is that Brad Pitt's children are continuously, on one might say systematically, deciding to drop his last name.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
And they're not like just dropping his last name and like manifesting a new one. They're dropping his last name and taking Angelina Jolie's last name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, some of them are getting into the industry. And so the one that I saw recently said that he wanted to do it just for the industry. But like, it makes me wonder, what does Brad Pitt's last name mean in the industry versus Angelina Jolie's last name mean in the industry?
Ooh, interesting.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I think I mean, I'm such an outsider. I'm not in this family's sphere at all. But just from the bits that I've seen from social media and the news, it was this release around, I think it was some kind of like official papers of some altercation. They were on a plane and there was physical abuse and harm that he did to the family. And
Mhm.
so I think it makes a lot of sense from that information that became public, just where they're siding with. And they're both, very accomplished artists. So I don't think there's any wrong way, but emotionally and personally, it makes sense to side with the parent who is taking care of you.
I mean, a lot of them. So I was such a Jennifer Aniston, like, stan. So when Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt came together, I was kind of
Mhm.
like, oh, I really don't. Like, don't get me wrong, the movie that they fell in love, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is still one of my favorite action movies of all time.
Mm,
But I
yeah.
was very much not an Angelina Jolie fan. And that was just like the energy and vibe that she was giving me. And Angelina Jolie is kind of like aloof. You know what I mean? Like, you don't
Mhm,
really
mhm.
get to know her personality. And it felt very cold. And now, like, my tarot mind is reading it like, oh, she was just like the Queen of Swords. She never was really cold. She just had a lot of like boundaries,
Yeah.
But it felt like that younger mind, me. And now I look back at it and, it started to come into when like the divorce started to come into play and the children all were like, in like the record or the records, the tabloids or whatever were reporting that all the children wanted to live with her, like
Mhm,
solely her. They didn't want to
mhm.
live with them.
Yeah.
And also it's so frustrating because like there's this storyline around how like the reason why Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston broke up was because she couldn't have a kid. Now that we know that she couldn't, but back
Mm,
then it was like she wouldn't. And Brad Pitt was so adamant. And this is something that I see in the culture in general. Brad Pitt was so adamant that he wanted a family. And then
mhm.
he gets a family and this is how he treats it.
Right. Yeah.
And like, that's something that I see in society a lot. And people get mad at me and they come for me. So I refer to them as the men folk now instead of men. So when we say the men folk, I'm talking about a very specific group of people. But I also feel bad for the men folk because it's like the same way that women are told that they have to like produce children to be important. Men are told that they have to father children to keep their legacy alive.
Mm,
And there's not like this thought or this concept that what if I wouldn't be a great dad or what if I wouldn't be a great mom? You know what I mean? Like there's
mhm.
not even that concept. Like we're almost trained that this is the thing we need to do to be successful in our personal life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as much as I feel bad for like the kids, and I feel bad for the kids more than anyone else,
Mhm.
it does make me feel a little sad that like he thought that he could be a great father and here he is not. And not only is he not a great father, but his children are letting the world know. Like they're
Oh,
not even saying anything. They're saying something by saying nothing.
Yeah, and dropping the name. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't go by my government name at all in my business sphere. I think that that's just like really important for my privacy. But I had to like navigate my father through the fact that my last name wasn't going to be on any of my like books or projects.
Mm.
And it was just simply like, it has nothing to do with you. It's just more about like my identity. My government name is still the same. I'm never going to change that. But it, you know, it is interesting how they are. More power to them. I'd be terrified because they're doing it at like 18, 19, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be scared. I'd be like, oh my gosh, my dad's going to hate me. But more power to them. More power to Angelina Jolie for raising kids that are this aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting what you were saying about like these expectations on society around marriage, the institution of marriage, raising kids, what that means. And so, yeah, when we can untangle from these expectations, it allows in this sense of agency and thinking for ourselves of like, okay, what do I actually want? And is this path, this traditional conventional pathway actually what I want? Or do I want to explore something outside of that, of not being a parent or not getting married or whatever that is? Like instead of being forced down that path because it looks good on paper or my reputation is on the line, you know, that can be really um harmful for all involved. So it is interesting to think about how we can reframe or kind of disrupt these systems that have been imposed on society for generations.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm doing it. I decided that I'm not having kids. Well, I can't, but before that, I decided that I wasn't going
Mm.
to unless I had like a significant shift. Like I am an anxious depressant. I have all kinds of things. Like I thought about like, as much as I love kids, would
Mm-hmm.
I actually be a good mom right now?
Mm-hmm.
And like that was a hard conversation I had to have with myself. Like, if I can't be a good person to me
Mm-hmm.
right now, how can I be a good person to another human?
Yeah.
And so like that, I love that we're in this era now that we get to do that.
Yeah, I think about like my ancestors, my grandmother, like the women, especially in my lineage, of where they didn't have that space to think that way. And did they actually want to have these families? Or was it kind of like forced upon them? Or just, yeah, what discomforts did they go through? Mental health things they've gone through because of not being able to voice that or get away from that because it's like, oh, why aren't you like my younger sister is getting married soon and I am only just at the early stages of my partnership and it's like when I go to the Philippines they'll be like, oh, why I'll have relatives be like, oh, why aren't you getting married first, you're the oldest, like I they've been together way longer than me. Obviously, they're gonna get married sooner. Like,
Yeah. Like
why?
that's just logical thing.
And also, like, why not? Why can't she just get married before me? Just because I'm older? Why is that shameful or weird? Why point that out at all? But I know
Why am I
those
responsible for being the first?
right, right. I didn't choose to be first.
I'm an older child myself, so I feel it. Like I didn't choose to be first. Y'all people made me first.
Right, right. I didn't consent to this.
I didn't want to. I don't want to be in this. Like it's yeah. It is so hard. I think about that with my own mom sometimes, right? Like my mom is a very career driven woman. You know, like I said, she's a Virgo. Like she finds stability in that, right? And sometimes I think of like, what if she lived in the world? Like I'm not saying that she didn't want me, you know, or like, you know, like I wasn't an accident per se, although I was a little bit of an accident. Just because she got pregnant literally the week, like the month she got off her birth control, which
Wow.
is like not supposed. You're supposed to be. It was supposed to be like up to a year, like that. That's usually the stopgap for women. They're like compromise, like okay, I'll get off my birth control because they know that it's gonna. They'll have a lot more time.
Right.
No, but I also wonder, like, what would my mom have if she got to be in my shoes now, then what would her life have
Mm,
looked like?
yeah.
All right. Our last topic in our pop culture roundup is that Tyra Banks sues for defamation in the American Next Top Model documentary. Have
Oh.
you seen it?
I have not seen the documentary, just people's social media takes and the news around her doing that.
So I watched the entire documentary.
I watched the show
Actually,
though. A little
I
like
watched the show. Yeah. I watched the documentary. It's so funny because I actually did a podcast because I have like another branch of the Basically Unbothered, which is recapped. So I like
mm,
recap things.
mhm,
And I did a podcast about it.
mm.
Also, fun little tidbit, guys. I was just talking about her joining Project Runway on an episode that came out this week. Tyra Banks just followed me on TikTok.
You're joking.
Tyra Banks followed me on TikTok and I thought that I won the lottery in life. I was like, what do
Whoa.
you mean? I grew up watching like, what was the movie where she grew big? I can't remember. She was
Life
adult.
Size?
Yeah, I grew up watching that. I
Oh, I
love
love
that movie.
yes.
I loved American Next Top Model. I always like wishy-washed. That was probably the
Mhm.
most indecisive thing I've ever been in my life is whether I want to be a model. So grateful I have not become a model.
Yeah. I know it's different being in front of the camera. I feel like Tyra Banks just followed you. Like at this.
That's fair. You're right. But I was, and I hope that maybe she looked at my other clip and saw this. So I saw all the takes on social media too, and everybody was like, Tyra Banks is not taking accountability and blah, 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 blah. And then I remember Eve went on and she was like, I think it was Eve. I think that's her name. Eva. Eva went on and she was like, I feel really sad for those girls, but that wasn't my experience. Tyra really helped my career a lot. One of the most frustrating things about this documentary is that it really did seem like they wanted to place all the blame on what happened on Tyra.
Mm. Mhm.
And it was so weird because in the beginning, you have the two J's, Miss J and J, and they're talking about how a lot of people weren't giving the LGBT community any like attendance on the TV show and she had to fight to get them, but she wanted them.
Mm.
And it's so frustrating, Tyra, the whole first thing with Jay was that Tyra had to fire him,
Mm.
but she didn't want to. And that was like the big disconnect here is that she didn't want to fire him. The network producers said that she had to fire him. And so she wrote him a personal letter to do it. And he wrote her this letter back and it was really angry. And there was a lot of like, from someone who is more in that industry, there was a lot of like blame on Tyra for things that were the industry's issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of like, the producers did this, the producers did that, and everything went extreme. And I was like, you guys think that because Tyra, and I want this to be to everybody, you guys think that because Tyra is like the spearhead of this show or like the face of the show, that she has all the control. And that is like one of the biggest things I learned when I went to film school. One of the reasons why I left was that I realized that directors, editors, screenwriters, they don't have control. Producers have all of the control.
Interesting.
A producer can buy your script, right? Completely rewrite your script and keep your name on it.
Wow.
And I don't know how it is now, but like back then, that was the thing. Like I was in a screenwriting class and my teacher was like, yeah, they can do whatever they want to your scripts. They can also steal your entire script and you can't sue them because if you sue them, even if you win, you will never work in the industry again.
Whoa. That's wild.
So I wish that the documentary was more exposing the backgrounds of what TV production looked like back then.
Yeah.
But they just blamed it all on Tyra. And then the contestants went on the show and they blamed things on, it was supposed to be an expose on the show. And it ended up trying to place the blame on Tyra. And it was so weird because they were mad about things. They're like, well, we feel like Tyra Banks didn't do enough for our career. your career is up to you. The show gave you the visibility. What you do with it is just on you now.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, the show, I couldn't even use all the photos that we took in the show. And unfortunately, there wasn't social media like there is now. So they couldn't capitalize on that. And they weren't on the show getting, 100K followers from it. But it was just so weird.
Yeah.
So she's suing them now.
Wow.
Because she's saying this wasn't the documentary that I was participating in.
Yeah.
And I can imagine you're thinking that you're talking about this show. And she, a lot of people saying that she didn't take accountability. Oh, honey, she took so much accountability. There was one for the girl with the gap tooth. I can't remember her name.
Mm-hmm.
But do you remember that whole thing where they made her close her gap?
I vaguely remember that. I know that they had some wild makeovers for some people.
They had some, but they blamed Tyra for most of these makeovers. And I'm like, if y'all only knew that Tyra was probably just the voice box to whatever everybody wanted to do, because she pitched this. It wasn't her show. She pitched it to producers. And the same thing with, do you watch Project Runway?
I did. Yeah.
Because, it's back and Tyra's about to be a judge.
Whoa, what a crossover.
I know, but it's perfect. Both of them, Heidi and Tyra, are both models. I love it.
Yeah.
But Heidi also had a problem with Project Runway for the same issue, is that the production team, they just didn't like the way the production team was taking it.
Mm-hmm.
Because production is really the people. So the closing gap didn't come from Tyra. It came from higher ups.
Right.
And as much as you think that she's in control of the show, she's just talent. So that's my long spiel to say she's suing them now, because basically it was everybody, even when they would have the producers, the new producer and the old producer on, and they would be like, Tyra didn't like this. Tyra didn't want it. Tyra fought for all of this. They would have other people be like, it was all Tyra's fault.
Wow.
It was just weird. So I'm happy that she's suing them.
Oh, what an interesting background. Thank you.
So much tea, so much drama.
Yeah, but I can only imagine, even Netflix, even zooming out there, because documentaries, because I took a documentary class when I also kind of lightweight double majored in cinema and digital media. So one of my classes was documentaries, and documentaries are painting a specific narrative. So whatever Netflix wanted to create for this documentary, that was on purpose. Whatever that was, it ended up blaming Tyra and putting her in bad light, and it probably was their goal. So whether that's correct or not, that was the story that they painted. So it's really interesting how storytelling can be that powerful to create this narrative that a lot of people will believe in. And it could be true or not. And that's kind of the scary thing, do we have media literacy or all that?
We don't. That's the crazy part. Most of us don't. So most of us don't know how to see in between the lines. And I'm covering Love Island right now, right?
Ooh.
That's been, the new episode comes out tonight and I'm stressed.
My sister is a fan, and also fun fact, one of my good friends from high school, he's a singer-songwriter. One of his songs was chosen and premiered, I think, on one of this week's episodes. Yeah, this is huge.
Now I gotta go back and listen. And
his name's Janrell. His song was Dreams. And my sister, I told her, because she's a fan, she's like, oh my gosh, they played it longer than most songs and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? That's cool. I don't know. I pop in when she watches, but yeah.
That's Bad Edits are a big reality TV thing. And if you pay attention, you notice how the edits shift based on how there's a person, Melanie, and her edits originally were trying to make her out to be the villain. because that's what Love Island does. They try to have like a
Yep.
villain. And it's usually the girl that ends up being the villain, right? Which the amount of time we could unpack that for.
Yeah.
But now her edits are completely different. And I think it is because, for those who don't know, Love Island as a reality series is a quick return edit reality TV series. They have like a day in between, maybe 2 sometimes, or
Okay.
things are being shot and you're getting an episode.
That's wild. Just
So they're able, that's why like Wednesdays there's no episode and Saturdays there's no episode. Because other than that, there's episodes so that they could catch up.
right.
And so people are mad because movie night is split up. But it's like movie night split up simply because they need to catch up.
Yeah.
They need time to be like, we're almost through it. Let's breeze through this. Because that's insane. But her edits change. And this is something you see in reality TV a lot. Is what they call like the bad editor. They'll edit you based on how they want your narrative to be or how they feel like other people want your narrative to be.
So scary. Like,
It's,
no. Yeah.
I've already told people I love reality TV. I've been saying this so much. I want to be on a reality TV show so fucking bad. I already know I'm getting the villain edit. I'm a serious. I'm getting the villain edits on everything.
Oh my gosh. What can you own
There's
it?
no way I'm too honest. I'm too blunt. I say things without thinking. There's no way I'm not getting the villain edit. I've already prepared myself for it, you know?
I mean, sometimes sometimes you're likable where people still love you for it.
Yeah. I think I could be a likable. I think that if anyone knows my heart, they know that I'm so kind and I'm so caring. If I meant something mean, you will actually know. Most of the time, no, that's so terrible to say, but legitimately, if I mean something to be mean, you'll know. Like my whole body will change. You will see a different person. The villain edits are weird, but hopefully with the Project Runway, we'll get to see her. And Tyra Banks, she got that whole like crazy edit too. And honey, if I had to do all those seasons of American Next Top Model and all that stress that was going on in that show, I would have went crazy myself. So I'm excited to see her come back. But hopping out of this and into a really quick hard truth before we get into our main topic, Shakira can only be said as Shakira. I don't care what anybody says. Anyone who says Shakira irks my soul. You can only pronounce it Shakira. They announced that she has had more World Cup appearances, not games in the World Cup, because me and my coworkers got into this argument, not games in the World Cup, but actual World Cup appearances, like the whole cup, than her ex BK. And I died.
What?
Which is like the ultimate fuck you to this man who tried to destroy her.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has to be hating himself.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
It's like, damn, she girl boss way too close to the sun. She doesn't even play soccer, and she's bent more than you have.
That sometimes women are just so inspiring and so innovative, and just like the pettiness can be so innocent, but so satisfying. That's like, oh, taking notes, not for me, but just like, writing a story or something. Like, oh, that's so powerful.
Mm-hmm. It just makes you feel like her ex-husband called the police on her. All these kinds of things, tried to make her seem like she was great. All these things, dated, younger, all these shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not the end of your story. Because look at where she's at now, right?
Yeah.
Like, your story doesn't end there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, to me, I think, like, that's why it's a hard truth. It's a hard truth because, like, hard truth for him because he tried to bring her down. But I've always said to people so many times that I don't seek revenge for somebody. The world is going to get them.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
The universe got them. I'm not worried about it. You do me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need revenge.
Yeah.
Will I get a little bit of petty? Yeah. Yeah. But I don't need revenge. But I thought that was really funny as a thing. Like, go women. Also, the fact that she's doing like the men's World Cups too is just like, she's also just so amazing as an artist. Like, so I think she's Colombian. I think she's Colombiana. And, they have problems with her sometimes too. But I don't know if you watch Super Bowl halftime shows.
I sometimes, yeah.
So her and J-Lo did one, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
If you paid attention, and this is just me as an Afro-Caribbean, African-American woman paying attention. J-Lo, who's from America, grew up in the Bronx, supposedly, was surrounded by African-Americans, and African-Americans helped boost her career up, right?
Hmm.
Very few white or very few black background dancers compared to Shakira, who had so many.
Oh,
And
okay.
she's always given a place for African culture, Caribbean culture. Like, she's always given space for that. And she's spoken out a lot about Africa in general. She does a lot of work there. And I like love that. A lot of Hispanics, sadly, especially if they're of lighter color, try to distance themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, they talk about that, like the colorism that exists in Hispanic and Latin countries and culture. And she's just like the complete opposite.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's my soapbox for Shakira. But that leads us into kind of exactly what we've been talking about a little bit on the underside about how these celebrities and these icons can actually inspire us.
Quick interruption before we get back to the chaos. You know how every recommendation list somehow ends up being the exact same books? Yeah, we're not doing that. That's why I opened Blake's Indie Author Bookstore, an online bookstore dedicated to indie authors and the stories that deserve a whole lot more attention. I spend my time finding books from independent authors so you don't have to scroll for hours hoping that the algorithm gets it right. Whether you're looking for romance, fantasy, sci-fi, thriller, or something that completely surprises you, there's a good chance your next favorite book isn't sitting on the front table of a big box bookstore. It's sitting in an indie author's catalog waiting to be discovered. So if you're ready to read outside the bestseller bubble, visit Blake's Indie Author Bookstore and see what you have been missing. Because around here, indie stories find their readers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always really interesting to see these artists on a larger scale, kind of this extreme example of how they're kind of portraying certain lessons or things that we can look to for inspiration. And growing up, I also loved pop culture and cinema and music videos and just like the glitz and the glam and the artistry of it all. So yeah, I definitely agree with how we can look to them for different kinds of inspiration for whatever it is, whether it's like more on the emotional side, life things, or the actual creative pieces.
Who was the icon that you looked like up to for inspiration and stuff like that?
Ooh, what time period are we
I was
talking
thinking the
about?
same thing. Like, you gotta catch me.
I'm like,
Okay, let's talk about like young you first.
mm, ugh, where do I begin? This is hard. Oh, of course, Britney Spears. I was
Okay.
obsessed. I had the Barbie doll. I would dance like it was my concert when she would pop up on TV. I had a VHS tape. Um, and yeah, played that all the time. I have the CD. So I don't know, just like I don't even know how I came to know who she was. With immigrant parents, I'm the first child. Like, who
Yeah.
introduced me to her? But yeah, definitely huge. Um, but who else? I love What's coming to mind too, like what else in terms of pop culture? I loved Brandy Cinderella, just like
Oh my God,
still
Roger.
my
I'm such a stickler about this because everybody calls it Brandy Cinderella, and it's like Roger Hammerstein
I
Cinderella.
know, I know, but
And
come
they
on,
both,
it is Brandy.
I might argue that Brandy was the weakest link in that entire movie.
Interesting. Okay. But did you like the movie?
Oh no, it's my favorite movie. It's legitimately okay. Wicked might actually have surpassed it, but
Okay.
Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella is probably one of the things that got me into film. Legitimately.
Wow. That's huge.
The way that they used color
Yes.
to tell a story, the way that they used the diverse cast to make, like, it was such a subtle statement that if you're not paying attention, you won't get that they used a diverse cast to basically say that race and ethnicity didn't mean a thing. Like a black and a white woman made an Asian baby. Like,
I loved that growing up. I'm like, it was just a fun, beautiful, exciting story that we know and love. That part I didn't comprehend that as a child, you know? It's like, this is a love story and this is a musical.
and it was, because it was meant to be like not felt. It was like so subtle. I think that's one of the things I loved about it is the subtleties. Like original Cinderella is so not subtle. It's just so not, but like there's subtleties in that one. Specifically, they've done it a couple of different times, but specifically in that version. Also Impossible. I wrote that on when I graduated with my associates, I wrote that on my cap because I graduated there in 2020 and I couldn't go through, or 2021 and I couldn't go through the whole thing, but I put it on Impossible Things Are Happening Every Day.
Oh my gosh. That
Cause it was
song.
like, but I mean, like, see, even that like clearly inspired me because when I had to think about what I wanted on my hat, to me, it was like, I graduated when I was like 28, maybe 27, 28. Actually, I think 28. Knowing, I mean, I got my associates. I eventually plan on getting more, but also don't know. I don't plan on not learning. I just don't know if I agree with our modern learning system and the collegiate system as the best way for me to learn. But like, nobody believed I was going to get a degree. I was 28 years old. They were like, oh, she's done. It's never gonna, I've hopped to so many colleges and like impossible things did happen. I got, what they tell you all the time is if you don't go to school and don't get your degree at this point, it's never going to happen. And I was like, oh, well, look at me at 28.
I love that. And I love that was on your cap. That song, Whitney, as a child, I didn't really know really who she was, but I loved her in that until like rewatching it. I'm like, this is actually so iconic of her to have been that character with these songs.
It is. What makes me more excited is that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, no, they didn't cover that one. They covered another Whitney Houston. But no, like that song, I can listen to that any day of the week. But that movie has been so monumental to me. Like, I still go back on it where I feel like, nothing's going to happen and everything like that. And I'm like, no, that song, Impossible Things Happen Every Day, is just like a thing that because I feel like my journey to get to what I want feels so impossible. And so many people are going to tell me it's impossible. And I have to keep the belief that it can still happen,
Yeah. What a song. I feel like that's such a beautiful like manifestation song too. It just gets you in the mood and it's just so magical already. And it's Whitney singing the song. Come on, like.
And Whitney and Brandy together sing this. Like, I want to be clear. I'm not a Brandy hater. I want to be clear.
Put on the record.
My first concert was actually a Brandy concert.
Oh my God.
It was when I was super little and my stepsister like loved Brandy. So because Brandy was like, she was on TV and her music, back then wasn't like anything like we could go. So we all went to the concert and it was great. And we sat pretty close from what I remember. But I don't, I was a kid, so who really knows? But I love Brandy. I loved the movie back then. I'm just looking at it now, being like, I don't know, out of all of Brandy's acting skills, if playing coy was the best
Oh,
role for her.
interesting. I actually can't recall the other, though I do remember I would watch a show, but I was young too, so it the Cinderella one is the one that I've seen the most. So that's the only
Mhm.
one I can recall. Yeah.
Like, that's fascinating. Let's see, what other, I'm trying to think, like, for me, I have like big ones. Like I told you, Sabrina Carpenter is like a motivator to me.
Okay.
Like
Oh.
watching her trajectory
hmm
and just be like, I've been following her since she was on Girl Meets World.
Same. I was gonna say,
I mean,
like, to see
yeah,
this trajectory when I was like watching her just there, and I'm like, oh, she's standing out to me in this character, and to see
yep.
like where she is now is like, what?
It's
Yeah.
so crazy. And like I think people also forget that she's an actress, like because her singing thing is
Yeah.
like, she's
Yeah.
actually played some like really, like she was in The Hate U Give.
Well, I haven't seen that one yet, but yeah.
She doesn't play a good character. So if you don't have to watch it. I mean, it's a great movie.
I mean, for you to like feel that, because some people who play villains, it's like kind of lackluster. But if you feel angry, then they did a good job.
She did a great job because she played like a unconsciously knowing racist but racist character. She did a
Okay.
really good job at it. But like for me, kind of coming up, she's a reminder that like she's been making music for almost like the first Sabrina Carpenter concert I went to, it cost me $5.
Mm.
Like that's crazy to think, right?
Mm-hmm.
It cost me $5. I was surrounded by children. Because they all got into her from like Girl Meets World, right?
Yeah.
And now I can't afford to go to her concerts.
Whoa. That's wow.
Which is just, I mean, Sabrina, if you want to pay for me to go to your concert, let me know.
Right.
But like, kind of what your point is when we were like talking in general, like these people actually really can help shape and change your life.
Yes. It really like whatever kind of person that you are inspired by, whether it's an author or an actor or an athlete, like whatever like person that's out there on like the larger scale, and you learn more about their history or their breakthroughs, their trials, the struggles, especially if they didn't come from a wealthy family, like how, so it's really inspiring to, not in comparison mode, but just like to see what is possible. And I think that is something that can be really powerful, of expanding your mindset, of kind of like what you were saying, the impossible song and putting it on your cap, how we can expand what is possible in our minds outside of the realm of what these traditional ways, pathways look like. These are people who um on are doing extraordinary things. Being famous is not like a thing every single person has or can be or ends up experiencing. So it really puts this extreme kind of like spotlight on them, of being like, oh, these are some of the things that they've done. Can I be able to experience a little bit of that, of like, oh, they're experimenting in this way. Can I allow myself to experiment in this way? Or they went indie. Does that give me the permission and confidence to self-publish, for example, or post my music on this free platform and create a stage for myself, at whatever stage you're at? So yeah, I kind of feel that too, and thinking about my modern influences as well, thinking of singers like, I don't know if you know Rina Sawayama. She's a Japanese British singer. I got to see her perform. I was barricade like right up front. It was inspiring. She was born to be a performer. Let's just say that. Like, in the writing piece, just different artists can really be inspiring in that way too, of how they might bridge their culture or their mental health into their story and songwriting. Like, I love being able to see these kinds of different inspiration and be like, you know what? Let me take notes. Let me be like, maybe I want this for this project, or just planting those seeds in my mind.
I agree with you. Like, it's a mindset thing, you know? Social media, all those things. People are like, yeah, following celebrities, it can be so detrimental. It can, but it also can be so free or inspirational. Like Michaela, I don't know, the makeup girl on
Oh,
TikTok.
uh-huh.
Um, I don't watch her and be like, oh my gosh, I want to live her life. But I watch how she built her whole brand. And just recently, she took creators and influencers on a brand trip to Korea. And I watched that and was like, oh my God, I want to do that one day.
Yeah,
Like,
you're the person curating the wellness space with the teas and the yoga.
yeah, like you're putting so many ideas in my head. My brain is like, my mom is going to be like, how many more things can you do? And I'm like, I don't know.
You
How
can
many?
do it all.
Yeah. Um, but no, like I just, it just made me think like that would be so cool for me one day to be able to take people on a brand trip. Like, and it was such a like, you know, obviously I'm still human. I have this fear conscious thing going on where I'm like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it.
Right.
It was such a like straight through the gut intuition thing. It was like, I can do this, you know, like this
Yeah.
is one of the things that are on my list. And when you're an indie creator, when you're doing this all by yourself, you need that inspiration.
You need that conviction too. Like, not just inspiration and over consuming media, but like what you said, you knew that you were going to do that one day. You need this like delusional belief. Because if no one else believes in you, you need to have this wild trust in yourself, because that's what's going to get you through the difficult moments, to not give up. Like, it needs to be done because there's no other way. You've already imagined this. This is done in your mind, so it's going to be done.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I struggle with it. Called me
Yeah,
on
of course.
Sunday. On Sunday, I was like, oh, I want to give up. And cause it's hard. It's also, and I think maybe, I don't want to speak for you, but maybe you might feel this way about being like a minority in this sphere, is that it's harder. Like as an author, it's harder to get my books out there and to sell people on my books. And I don't even market as like, these are like African American, Afro Caribbean books. I just market them as books because to me, that's what they are. But it is harder when you're a minority in a minority to get visibility, right? Especially when you don't, like for me, my parents aren't immigrants per se. Like my dad is born and raised in Detroit. My mom is born and raised in St. Thomas, which is technically part of the US. But like if you've ever been to St. Thomas, because it's the US territory, but if you've ever been, it's a completely different culture. So I didn't have this concept until literally late last year. And I was talking to my friend and I was like, I'm not all the way, but I'm kind of a first generation. Because like how people see themselves and their identity here, I've never saw myself and had that identity feeling. Because like in the islands, to me in the States, as an African American woman, there's so much that you have to like prove that you're African American. You know what I mean? In the islands, that doesn't exist.
Wow.
Like it's just not a concept. And so it was so weird for me. And I don't, identify with all those things. Also, my parents were really strict. I didn't get to watch, like me saying I love reality TV. I didn't get to watch reality TV until I was in high school.
Yeah.
Which I still got Real World. So like I'm good. I still got the best parts. Like I got Real World and I got Jersey Shore and stuff like that. I'm good. But I do feel like it's hard and I want to be one of those people one day, one of those icons one day that make people feel like they can reach that level,
Mm.
you
Ooh,
know?
that's powerful. Yeah. Ooh, that's making me think of when I was young. My dad often, when I was watching Disney movies and we had those on VHS tapes, my dad loved bringing up. I don't know if you know Lea Salonga. She's a Filipina. She was one of the few Filipinas like Broadway icons in general, but also her being Filipina. And she was the singing voice of Mulan and Princess Jasmine. And he had so much pride in that. And so that was another iconic representation of someone who made it huge in
Yeah,
Hollywood as a woman of color who was from the Philippines to be on Broadway. It's such a selective space to have broken through. And then to be on Disney and to be two princesses who are iconic, not just one, but two,
I know.
is yeah. So that was another reminder in thinking about like ancestry and lineage and culture and what it means to break through in these different creative spaces.
I just looked her up. By the way, she still performs,
Yes.
apparently. I
Yep.
just looked her up. Like, automatically up top, she's the first Asian actress to win a Tony Award.
Wow.
And in 2026, Salonga will become the first Filipino to receive a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I got chills.
I got chills too. Like, not for me, but like for you. Or first of all, like, I love, as much as I love like people in my culture winning, I fucking love people in other cultures winning. Like, I love
Yeah.
anytime someone breaks the mold or like the expectation. I just got chills because I just thought about like what that means for the Filipino community. Like Lisa from Blackpink and what she means to like the Thai community
Mm.
and how
Mhm.
they like really stand by her and like they're like she's like the people's princess there. Like those things I just really love because side joke, there's a joke in my family that we don't know if it's actually apparently it is true because it came up on my dad's thing. But my grandfather was half Filipino, half black because my great grandfather was one of the first black doctors in Detroit.
Mhm.
And so he had a Filipino maid.
Mm.
We
Mhm.
all know what happens with men and maids. So my dad has been obsessed with the Filipino culture since I was pretty young. And
Wow.
he ended up marrying a Filipino woman for a little bit. That didn't work out. Not against her.
Right.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if marriage in my entire family just should
Mhm.
mesh or not, personally.
Mhm.
But like it's always been a thing around me. And like it's always something that I'm just so like happy about. One day me and my dad are gonna go to the Philippines.
Ooh, how
It'll be so
exciting.
exciting. I know.
Yeah.
I have I wanna go to Japan and I wanna go to the Philippines and those are like my big two.
Mm. Ooh, okay. Okay, not too far from each other too. I
I
think that's
know, like it could just be
yeah.
one trip.
Well, I've done that. Yeah.
I mean, oh, it'll be
Yeah.
so exciting.
Yes. Yeah. It's so like I totally relate to you with the Mulan piece too, of just like the empowerment around that. Like, yeah, I'm a girl and it's so interesting culturally too, the cultural pieces around that as well. But yeah, just how these different archetypes or characters can really paint a picture again of what's possible, like feeling expansive of whether you can identify with the culture or not, or these characters or not, you can still
Yeah.
see yourselves in them because the story itself, the storytelling is so powerful. And that's what I love storytelling for, what of how it can instill an emotional feeling in people at any point in time, whenever they come across these pieces. So yeah, highly,
And
highly relate.
I think that's why we shouldn't like, as silly and sometimes exploitive pop culture can be, there is an
Hmm.
aspect of it that can be really aspirational for people to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I think that too. I think it takes, again, the media literacy and the self-confidence piece and all this inner work to not have this like parasocial relationship to artists or the industry, or like this awareness around the shadow aspects of it. And we also be able to use it as inspiration and guidance on certain creative ideas that we have too, of literally creating a new world or creating a new reality. Like that's what film is, or creativity is. You're crafting a world, whether a soundscape or visual or whatnot. It's really powerful.
As we get to a close, we were talking about like what icon is still young you. What about like you right now and where you are and like where you want to go in life? Who do you kind of look towards to like keep you going, or aspiration in that sense?
Yeah. One that I named earlier, Rina Sawayama, is an incredible performer, artist. I also look, if I'm sitting within the realm of singers, also Kehlani, just also from the Bay Area,
Mm-hmm.
and being an incredible artist on so many fronts, but also being able to weave in social values and being able to protest or speak on these movements that they care about, even in music videos or just in the online space, and still getting accolades and performing. And I think that is really inspiring to see that you don't need to separate those things, but it can be a very powerful platform to have and speak on issues that you care about, to bring attention to. I also think about, you know, who are historical figures, historical ancestors, for example, like the authors that have done incredible work that people still reference, like Bell Hooks or Maya Angelou, Audre Lorde. Like people are still referencing their work, and I'm still inspired by what they do and how they write and informing different movements. So yeah, I mean, there's so many others that I need to put like write my own list of, but those are who are coming to mind in this moment.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that you mentioned like ancestors, like your icons don't have to be what's visible in front of your face right now. It can be people that you look back onto of the way that they live your life. And I also love how you mentioned Kalani, because it is hard. Like, I'm going to be honest, as a creator, for instance, I told you I shot a video of like me getting ready, like, and I wanted to put like, when you turn your getting ready into a magical witch thing. And I was like,
Hmm.
ugh, I don't want to put that, even though that's how I feel, because like, what if that isolates me
Mm.
from other
Hmm.
people? But then I have to remind myself, like, what isolates me from other people brings me closer to like the people who are going to get it.
Oh yeah.
And I think that a lot of actors and actresses and singers and celebrities, they feel that way. Like, I don't want to isolate this community because I'm doing advocacy, but like advocacy will only bring you closer to the
Hmm.
people who are meant to be following you and like your success. Again, like Sabrina Carpenter, her whole gimmick right now, and I say gimmick because she knows what she's like, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's playing into. That's not her whole
Yeah, they're
personality.
performing. Yeah.
If you look at her social media, she's the exact opposite of like
Mm.
what you see, right? Which is fine. I love that. But she knew that like people were like into her witty commentary about men and the backhanded comments and things like that. And so she created, that space. And it is feminist in a way that people might not realize it, but it's still her advocacy,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's more of a silent advocacy, but it's still there. But also like realizing that like, I may isolate people, but I'm also like by talking about indie authors and indie creators or something that may be different. But when you speak up for what you believe in, you're always going to be your true self. And that's the most important thing that I think from any icon or whatever that I look towards, whether I like them or not, is their authenticity.
Yeah, for sure. That
So
really stands out, because if you're creating for the masses, then you're kind of that's kind of boring and vanilla, and there's no perspective. There's no like point. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
you are creating for the masses. All right. My dogs are bugging me. We're at our time limit, but I
Yeah.
want people to know where they can follow you and where they can get information, get more information and potentially work with you. Cause just from this chat and our chat before, you have like such an amazing energy and like, I love it. And
Oh,
so how can people get to know more about you and everything like that?
that's so sweet. And I'm just so grateful that we got to connect in this internet
Yes.
of ways. But yes, again, I'm Isabel. You can find me at Unconventional Bliss on Instagram and Threads, and that's also my website, unconventionalbliss.com. If you're curious about visibility, whether you are an entrepreneur or a creative yourself, and not just the strategic ways, but even the energetic, emotional ways that might be blocking you from that, and doing so with someone who can support you and understanding the nuances around that. I'm here for you, and I have a bunch of exciting offerings that folks can jump into. My membership, Essential Selfies Content Club, where we get into DIY photo shoots together and weave that into your marketing or assets for your goals. And a new offering that I'm really excited about that kind of touches upon what we talked about that I'm launching at the end of fall 2026 is Ancestral Visibility, which is really thinking of, I love your face. It's really thinking about weaving in who our ancestors are, whether blood, chosen, historical, plants, and energetic, um, and connecting with them, but also how we are thinking about the creations we're creating and sharing with the world, that it isn't just content, but it's actually a living archive. It's a body of
Mhm.
work and a legacy towards our own movements that we are contributing for good in the world. And so I'm really excited about guiding folks through that container this year. So yeah, so excited to connect with folks who listen in and let us know how this chat was for you.
Yeah, please let us know. Also, I can't wait to go follow you on everything. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for all new stuff. I cannot wait to keep up with it. Like, I'm an excited person, but
Mm.
I'm very excited for this. So thank you so much for
Oh,
being on the podcast. It means so much to me. And thank you everybody for listening and being a part of this. I have so many ideas now that I have to go
yeah.
like write down just from
Yeah.
having this conversation with you. So I can only imagine what other people would get from
Mm.
doing the consulting and everything with you. Um, that being said, thank you all for listening to another episode of Basically Unbothered, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Gabi Gabs Podcast.